Hey folks, it's Cortezerino. It's very, very bright in here. It's pretty bright, but it's not too bad on this level. But down here, it is almost blinding. But why am I showing you all of this? Well, that is because I've stumbled upon this shader pack that you can actually sort of play around with. See, the one I really like to use is pretty dark, so you can't play all the time. But this one, I possibly could run shaders continuously, and I'd like to do that because all my builds here look so cool. I kind of don't like looking at them in the normal Minecraft textures, but I don't know, this one's not quite right yet. Maybe I can tweak it. But yes, wouldn't it be cool just to play with shaders all the time? But we're bringing you over here because I've done a little bit of work. So here's another thing. I can never tell when the sun is setting. I fall into a dark bit here and it looks like I'm going to have a nap. But we've done a courtyard, guys. You know what? Let's switch out of these shaders. Maybe I can find something better. Here we go. Not quite as fancy looking, but I can concentrate a little bit better. We've done a courtyard for the castle, and you can see I've actually got this little wall going I say little, it is very little, it is 1 block tall, but this little wall going all the way around my courtyard. See, this area will be completely enclosed in the castle. And I've started mixing in some new blocks. See, I was looking at the pictures of the real courtyard, and the pathway's a lot cleaner than any other sort of dirt track around the castle. So I think just by mixing in the diorite and these, not polished stone bricks, whatever they're called, those stone bricks, I think it's turned out pretty good actually. So we've got a little well in the middle here. This kind of looks like the well in real life. I even went to the effort of putting a little bit of water down there. Very high water table. I couldn't be bothered digging down too much further. And about all else I've done here is I've added a little bit of greenery. Finally got some greenery in the castle, a few little plants around there. And we've got our first tree. See, I can only put trees where they are in real life. Well, I could put more in, but I'm trying to stick to real life. So we finally got a tree in. I think it's making the place look super cool. And this entire grassed area is just plain grass. So if we needed something to liven it up a bit, so I've just mixed in this green concrete powder just throughout the grass, and I think that's a nice little touch. So yes, we've come along a little bit, but we've got a lot more to go. I'm not naming this episode the courtyard just to do this little bit of building and then leave it at that. We've got to do another building there, a great big one, and then a great big archway to walk out here, and I haven't designed any of it yet. So we're not going to do it this second. We are going to head off to the Japanese area instead because I've designed a bell tower. We're going to put that in. And I made a tiny mistake as I was putting this bell tower in. I didn't bring the exact materials I needed. Right up the top there, I brought the nether brick walls instead of the nether brick fences, and some of it kind of looks okay, but some of it looks a bit rubbish. So I just brought some with me, and we will fix that up. But while we're here, well, since building this, see, I don't mind those ones on the side, but this one up the top, we will get rid of that, put a fence in. Yeah, that looks alright. Since building this, I have done a tutorial for a little yin-yang garden, and I hadn't planned to put it here in my world, but I wonder if there's a good spot for it. And it turns out there is a good spot for it, but all I've done so far is just put in the chunk build that I did the tutorial for, so it ends in a dead straight line here. I've still got to sort of get my paintbrush out and blend it into the environment, so a few more bushes up the back and some more bamboo, and then this will look like it sort of suits where it's sitting, but it's sitting in a weird spot. Look at this, I'm all the way out in the middle of nowhere. So nearly all the builds for my Japanese area are over here, and here's my temple portal, but I thought wouldn't it be good if the temple had some grounds around it, and I thought we had this huge space out the back here. Let's jump up onto a tree. So I've plonked it down over there, but yeah, it is in the middle of nowhere, but I've had some cool ideas for decorating this entire little valley, and I've sort of started over here. This path wasn't in here before, so what I've done is I've extended this sort of little walkway around the bank, which is to stop pillagers from crossing the river and jumping up here, because I get tons of them and I can't see them coming with all the flowers everywhere. But I want to go to a fair bit of effort. That's why I haven't started here yet, because I've got big plans for this area. I want to clear out all the junk in the middle of this valley so it's nice and clean. Build some nice Japanese-styled trees around here. Not the pink ones that I've been doing, but something a bit different. And I also want to try my hand at a nice Japanese bridge, maybe coming from that temple over there and just crossing this valley to that little hill up there. But that's a lot of work. I haven't started on it yet because I want to take my time with it, and I really want to get to work on that courtyard at the castle. I already know I'm not going to get this entire building done this episode, but I've designed the first floor, so we can definitely put that in right here. And I remember saying if I can jump the wall, I was saying in a previous episode that I kind of wasn't sure about this little area here. It's just all linen cupboards. And I was thinking if I couldn't punch through this wall and connect to the next building, then I might have to rip out this one. Well, I am going to kind of rip out this little room here, but I'm going to do it in a weird way. I'm still going to keep it. It's not going to be a linen cupboard, and I'm going to seal that off. And we're actually going to put two doorways here. One of them on the left leading in to the next building, and then one on the right that will lead to the outside, and we can step up just here into the doorway. But I've already organised all my stuff. I've got the shogger boxes full of goodies that I think I'll need. So it's time to get started. Alrighty, there are a few little weird things like floating lights and pictures popping up out of the wall, but this thing is coming together. My little courtyard is coming together. This looks pretty cool. So as I was designing this, I pretty much decided this is the area where the king is going to live. Now, I don't think a king would live in this castle. I don't think it's big or grand enough for a king, but maybe an earl or baron or some such thing. But for the purposes of this, we will just call him a king, and maybe I'll do some research and find out who actually lived in the real castle. So we've got this little doorway, and we might actually skip the first room. So this is the first little one. We will skip that, and we will start right here. This is the king's dining room, but he would call it his hall. Now, this is the third dining room that I've made in this castle, but let's go have a look at the others. And the reason I wanted to show you the other two is because these are kind of a lot grander than the king's dining room. And why would that be? Well, this one is for his officers. So the officers in his military or his high-ranking servants. And so he would make a nice, fancy dining room to make them feel special, I guess, feel appreciated, because that's a good way to inspire loyalty. And then up the top here, it's still pretty good, but it's not nearly as fancy, and this one's for soldiers, I guess, because they'd all be on shift rotations with their watches and stuff, so one big table is enough to look after bunches and bunches of soldiers, because they'd probably be eating at different times. But the king's dining room isn't nearly as pretty as either of these. And that's completely intentional, because this king is not really treating this as a fancy dining room. This is his hall. This is his man cave, basically. So he probably appreciates the old halls where it's all sort of rough and tumble and lots of ale being thrown around. And this is just somewhere where he can bond with his men or with visiting dignitaries. It's a cool place to hang out. I don't know any guy who would rather hang out in that nice, pretty dining room or would rather be in here with the big fire going. I think this one is much, much nicer. But he'd also probably take some meals with his family here. But we will do more for the royal family's quarters up that end. And they'll probably have their own little family dining room that isn't fancy at all. But so the soldiers and all the guests would enter from this door. We've got another door up the back that leads off into the king's quarters. So even though we've got a great big kitchen in the other building, we've made a little kitchen here so they can use this fire to cook as well. We've got a furnace and a few things. I converted that I haven't done it properly yet. You can see all the linen still up there. But this is a big pantry, so at any time of the night the king can just wander down here, and there's always staff ready to make him a snack. But if he was having a big meal, they would bring the food over from the main kitchen. But let's continue. I like doing this, by the way. I saw someone doing this. They put trapdoors around paintings and stuff just to make a nice frame. Thought that looked pretty cool. I had to bring some berry bushes in because it was very grey in here, and we needed a touch of colour. But let's wander into the next room. So now we are sort of into the royal family's quarters, but this area would still get a lot of servants walking through, so it's probably more for show. So after a meal, if he wants to sit down and talk to someone in front of another fire, he can do that in this little room here. And then we've got just a really nice hallway. I quite like this. So, and it took up a lot of room in here because I've got to fill up all this area with rooms, and a nice little hallway is a good way to do it. The first toilet of the castle. I figured all the other lower ranked people would have a ditch somewhere, but the royal family needs a dunny and a little study area. I don't know if he'd use this or if it's more for show, just to say to people, yeah, I read, you know. But what I've done is I've just got the lectern in there with the little book. And the other two doors in this hallway just open up into the courtyard. So we've got that little one there. And then this one here I saw in the picture of the real building where we've got this big archway that I haven't put in yet. They've actually snuck a little doorway in here. So I've thrown that in. And then we go on to the second floor, which, as you saw a moment earlier, I haven't done yet. But this is going to be more bedrooms and stuff for the royal family. And I think I might end it about here, and we'll have a big wall. And then we will have another room here that connects to this tower for other people. But this is going to be 3 stories tall, so I've got lots of work to do. But this is the time of the episode when I start thinking about what my thumbnail is going to be. And I don't know if that, even though that looked pretty cool, I don't know if that's impressive enough for a thumbnail. So I haven't quite finished designing it yet. I'm nearly done. I think we're going to put this archway in. The arch that connects the King's building to the kitchen and dining rooms. So I think we might leave it here for today. We will finish with a little time lapse of me building this archway. And I've got no idea if this episode is good length or running short. I haven't edited the thing yet. But we'll find out. We'll leave the Japanese stuff for another day. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Cortezerino. I'll see you later.